Now, what we learned through the brilliance of people like Ann Wigmore and now the scientific community, like the Linus Pauling Institute, and the great work of a colleague and friend, Dr. David Williams, is that food has this remarkable medicine in it called phytochemicals. Now, phytochemicals, so you understand this, listening here in this room and around the world, are the most significant elements we ever discovered in the entire history of science, in the conquest of disease and premature aging. So what that means in English, if you want to get rid of a disease, prevent a disease, and stay young, you better take phytochemicals in food. And guess what? Why these are so perfect? Man had nothing to do with them. Man did not create these. Man did not put these in a package of pill or an injection. Nature did. Nature did. And these elements are actually the natural occurring pesticides that inherently, through evolution of those plants, were there to protect that plant from perishing. So the bugs would not eat the last one, or the animals would not eat the last one. And these enzyme inhibitors have now been renamed since 1948 and established scientifically since 1990s as the most important anti-disease, anti-aging food ever discovered. So Dr. David Williams, who I've had come to Hippocrates, because we have an ongoing series of world-leading experts that we bring here to West Palm Beach, where Hippocrates now resides, and for our entire community for free, we let them listen to these brilliant people. And he stood up right here not too many months ago and said, once you cook a food, these phytochemicals are gone. So let me once again reiterate what I've just said. What I've just said is the most important anti-disease, disease-reversing, and age-preventing elements we've ever discovered in the entire history of science. That means from the beginning of science, before Newton, back to the Greeks, back to the Egyptians, back to the Africans. The most important things, once you cook these foods, it's gone. Now, do you think you find these phytochemicals in meat? Who says yes? No. You think you find these phytochemicals in eggs? No. How about fish? No. How about chicken? No. How about whole wheat organic bread? No. You find it in plants. You find it in plants. Now, do you think if you took a plant and put a pesticide, a fungicide, or herbicide on that plant, it may alter and disturb and even destroy the phytochemical? The answer is what? Yes. So now let's take the next step along this pathway. Most important medicine ever discovered has to be in raw plant-based food, but it has to be in organic, biological, ecologically grown foods. Not pesticide, genetically modified, fungicide, and God knows what other side they do to this. Unbelievable. So this is almost a gift that Ann Wigmore received, and I don't know how. I think there is another realm that humans think is mystical today that in this century we're not going to think is mystical anymore, called zero-point gravity. It's what I call the invisible library of infinite knowledge and wisdom. And obviously this woman who was facing death in 1952 without any education, didn't even get out of high school, tapped into that and said, I've got to eat raw food. I've got to eat raw plant-based food. And she, in spite of the Harvard doctors, the top doctors in this country, if not the world, who told her she was going to die, didn't die, and created the world's first center that you can still come to 6 decades later and learn, because healing is not about recovery, it's about learning how to maintain health. Let me repeat that again. Healing is not about recovery. Recovery is a definitive place. Once you recover, you have recovered. Now what are you going to do? Maintain. We want to maintain health. We want to raise our health. Not to a place that's superior to what we should have, but to the place that we should have. Do you understand the difference? Not to the place that you think we should have, but the place we should have. When you were born, your birthright was to be healthy, to live a long, happy life. In this extraordinary world and universe, multiple universes, it's an exceptional thought to understand that perfection reigns. The enigma, the abnormality on this planet happens to be the human mind. The only imperfection on the planet Earth is the human mind. And so why not get back to the place of what we call in science homeostasis? So we're going to take a little voyage and talk about what these plants do. Are they as impressive as what you see at the great institutions with the guys and the gals and the white coats and the stethoscopes and all the fancy machines? No, but it's more powerful. Maybe not as intellectually seductive, but certainly more powerful. And what most of you struggle with because you really don't like yourself at any significant level is the taste of food. This has never ever stopped perplexing me. Every single week, 52 weeks a year, decade after decade, guests come to us, spend weeks of their life, tell me they're serious about raising themselves to a place of well-being, and they say, "Oh, I don't like the taste of food." What the heck is wrong with you? You'd rather die, suffer, age prematurely, and see the boys and girls with white coats and stethoscopes that are going to give you a song and a dance. You talk about a song and a dance show, they have a production that rivals Broadway going on. It's unbelievable. It's institutionalized insanity is what I say. And you go right along with the program. You're paying big money for those tickets. You want front row seats because that seems much easier than the taste of food. Come on. I was right there with you. Why I laugh with you and at you is because I was with you. When I first ate a vegetable, which was probably when I was 20, I didn't know what a vegetable was till I was 20, and this wonderful little Lillian said, "You know, you got to eat vegetables, not that shit you're eating." When she wasn't watching, I actually spit it out. That's not a joke. How many of you remember that? Now when I think about what I used to swallow, it wasn't food. It didn't even resemble food. It makes me sick to my stomach. Because once you bring yourself back to where you come from, you are where you need to be. Remember that. All we're trying to do is get back to where we came from, our birthright, what you deserve. Do you think that the imperfection on this earth is meant to be only for humans? You have worked hard to create the disease. You have worked hard to create the suffering. You have worked hard to destroy the environment that God gave us to live in. You have worked hard for war and hatred and racism and sexism. You work hard for hatred. It doesn't take any effort to do the right thing. But it's certainly different than what everyone else is doing. So what it takes is one thing. Starts with a B. It's bravery. Being brave enough to let go of all the preconceived notions of insanity that we've been trained and taught is normality. Whatever they tell you is normal, I assure you, is not normal.